Hey everyone, Pack here with another weather forecast discussion on the Spark Service YouTube channel, recorded around 11 p.m. Eastern Time on Thursday, February 29th. Today we're going to be discussing the extreme weather we've got going on out west with heavy winds battering the west coast as well as part of the Rocky Mountains. We've got blizzard warnings across some of the Sierra Nevada and some other mountainous ranges, and plenty of winter storm warnings up and down the coast, winter weather advisories. We've got a couple red flag warnings for fires over here in Colorado. We had some fires in Texas the other day, which brought smoke all across the eastern half of the country. And we're going to be talking about a pretty sizable warm-up for the Midwest and eastern coast of the U.S., so let's dive in. I do want to make a mention of the severe weather that we had 2 days ago as of recording. This was for February 27th, and we had an incredible assortment of supercells and a line of storms move through first the Chicago region here, bringing lots of hail and some tornadoes, particularly close to Chicago here, a little on the northern side, into Michigan. We had another line move through the central Indiana and Ohio region, bringing a lot of wind and a couple tornadoes with that, and some more storms moving through Kentucky, which brought a lot of wind and hail. And these storms produced 3 EF2s and several EF0s and EF1s. So the severe weather season is coming, and this is just a sign of what is to come. So anyone across the Dixie Alley down in the Deep South and the main tornado alley's got to keep an eye on the weather as far as severe weather goes, and we've got more coming, and so keep an eye out. So going into what we've got currently on satellite, this is looking at some of the cloud tops. We have a nice little low pressure system here that is kicking up some convection and rain and even a little bit of sleet and snow in here on the northern side of this tiny little system here in Missouri. And that's going to be shifting off into the central Ohio Valley region. And more importantly, we've got this huge system out west, which is kicking in a lot of precipitation into particularly the mountainous regions here, and we'll be bringing lots of snow to all of the mountains here in the west, starting with the Pacific Northwest and then working its way down into the Sierra Nevada. And we're talking amounts up to 150 inches in just a couple of days, 10 plus feet, so incredible amounts here. Even for the Sierra, this is pretty uncommon, so it should be very interesting to watch. And I think this is a great graphic that kind of shows that progression of where that moisture is going to be throughout the period. So keep an eye on the top here. This is your time. This is going to be starting with tomorrow, Friday, when this gets uploaded, through Saturday and into the morning hours on Sunday off of the North American model. And this is looking at way up where the planes fly at 500 millibars of pressure. And we're looking at the winds there. So these winds are going to be carrying tons of moisture into the mountains, and those mountains are going to allow that moisture to rise and precipitate very easily. And the temperatures are going to be cold enough for snow here. So you can notice how earlier on we see this higher wind flow over much of the Cascades down through Washington and Oregon, and then moving down into the Sierra by the end of the period. And we've got several areas of troughing and low pressure moving through the region that's just going to exacerbate the issues and dump tons and tons of snow, particularly in the Sierra where this kind of stalls out. We've got 10 plus feet coming there and 1 to 2 feet up in the regions to the north here. To get an idea of this, we're going to first look at down in the Sierra, and this is also on the NAM 3-kilometer model. Follow the time up here, subtract, I believe, 8 hours or so, 8 hours or so from this number 4Z. That would make, to get Pacific time. And when I push this forward, you notice how by the morning hours here on Friday, this will be uploaded probably after that, but the morning hours, as far as this model shows for when this was recorded at 11 p.m. on Thursday, the morning hours, we start to see that snow enter the Sierra and pick up in intensity, particularly in the northern California mountains, by the afternoon hours on Friday. And then by the evening time, we should start to see that snow really break out all across the Sierra and in a more moderate and widespread fashion. And, some of those snow showers will probably move inland over Nevada. We've got a bit of a front moving through, and it's going to lower that snow level as well. The snow level is going to start off high, but snow level will move down probably below 6,000 feet by about Saturday morning. And these areas here are going to see tons and tons of snow for hours on end. And while some of these communities are a little used to it through the mountains, this is probably going to be a little bit unprecedented in terms of just the sheer magnitude of snow. And the NAM is interesting in showing this huge little squall here along the cold front, right along the front of it, moving into Nevada and Utah. This is going to be now Saturday evening, and that shifts further into Wyoming and kind of stalls out here over the Utah ranges and the Wasatch and into Wyoming here. As I push it to the end of this model run, this goes out 60 hours. And by that point, the snow should be ending in the Sierra, thank goodness. But they will have received a dumping by then. And just to go show how much of a dumping we're talking about, cursor here is showing, a widespread 100 inches plus. And these are going to be pretty, I would say these are pretty accurate totals off of the NAM. 100 inches plus, some areas seeing 150 inches plus. So we're talking 10 to 15 even feet of snow. And this is all going to fall within really 48 to 50 hours, and that's going to cause some big troubles along, I know, I-80 through the Lake Tahoe region. Big problems for travel there, and going to want chains throughout all these mountainous regions. And if we move it over to the Pacific Northwest, these amounts should be a little bit lighter, but we are going to see that snow, we're already seeing that snow move in right now. This is, of course, on Thursday. And that's going to continue throughout the day on Friday, kind of sporadically, and we get that front kind of moving in along this line here, right in here, and that is going to be associated with this little low pressure that moves in, associated with one of those troughs we saw on this loop here, one of these little kinks here, and that low is going to just exacerbate really both the wind in this region in Oregon and Washington, as well as the snowfall in even the lower elevations here. So this snow should end by about around Saturday evening in the Pacific Northwest, in parts of Idaho, Washington, and Oregon, and a little bit later for Montana and Wyoming. And places further south should see it for a little bit longer as well. A couple of passing snow showers, but nothing too serious at this point. And that is going to probably deliver slightly lower totals, but still impressive totals, good for skiing up here. We've got, 1 to 2 to 3 feet in some of the highest elevations. And that should deliver well for ski resorts. The desert areas, the lower elevations should remain low with 1 to 2 to 3 inches. But luckily, with one thing that this system won't bring is rain. So the rain should remain on the lower side, and the snow should be the main headline for the Sierra, as well as some of these northern mountains of California, Nevada, and the Pacific Northwest here. Pushing it over a little bit into the wind forecast. Currently, I mean, winds are already picking up, especially across the ridges with, 70-mile-an-hour gusts. But even in like all elevations, we're going to see the winds pick up into the 40s and 50s as far as gusts go. And again, those highest elevations across the Sierra ridges, could see winds 70 to 100 miles per hour. I know that's in the forecast. And, even areas here gusting up to 60 throughout, especially Nevada and Utah. That is what's causing our wind advisories and high wind watches and warnings here. And so be on the lookout, and blizzard conditions expected in where those snowfall rates are going to be excessive. So stay off the roads when you can. As I move up into the Pacific Northwest, we see kind of the same story again through Friday into Saturday. The winds should probably die down by about Saturday afternoon in this region, and remain a little bit stronger through Nevada and California through Saturday again, and then into early morning on Sunday before finally moving out of the area Sunday evening. So moving on into the temperatures in this region, you can see that parts of even up into Montana, North Dakota, South Dakota, Minnesota, Iowa, Wisconsin, especially into Michigan, all of these regions in the Midwest, into the Northeast as well, by the end of the period, are really going to be seeing some really warm weather throughout. Really, this is going to be from now through the next 5 days through Tuesday. And then we do see that cold front kind of move through and kick out those warmer temperatures to the east, and then eventually off the coast by about Thursday, Friday of next week. So it's going to be quite warm for this part of the country, and the cold weather should remain out west. Now that could actually be kind of nice for some of these people as we move into March. We're going to start March out pretty warm in the east, and although that could lead to perhaps a little bit of an uptick in severe weather, that could be nice for, a change from the cold winter some of us have had. I think this is a great view here, this of kind of the storms that we've got going on, as well as that warm weather. This is basically showing the 500 millibar pressure level, which is way up where the planes fly. And basically you take you take a sheet of paper rather, and a good analogy here is you get a sheet of paper and you wave it a little bit, and when you get these troughs in that sheet of paper, you will have, that's where these kind of blue colors represent, and then these red colors represent where that sheet of paper kind of rises up if you wave it around. And red colors would indicate warmer weather and nicer weather. Blue colors and these darker colors indicate cooler and stormier weather, specifically right out ahead of these blues and kind of in between here. So you notice how that blue really tends to stick around out west, and so the stormier weather will continue throughout the period. This is off of the American model here, valid through doing the first 180 hours, so the next 6-7 days or so. As you can see here, the warmer colors stick out to the east, and we are going to start off with this little system in here that kind of slides on through. That's that first system that we saw on satellite, and now these these colder colors are going to kind of stick off to the north, and that's going to keep our colder weather out of the east. That cold front will move through, but not particularly cold air will follow behind it. So no Arctic blasts in sight, and stormier weather will continue out west with some pretty nice weather out in the east. Now let's do a quick little comparison off of the global, the American model and the European model. Currently, right now, this is off of the 18Z initialized American model, and we see that continuous stormy weather out west, much colder weather indicated by these bluer colors in here. as well as the snow. And we do get a little bit of a system to pop in with that warmer weather building out east. As I said, some prospects for severe weather could increase a little bit as we get through Tuesday, Monday into Tuesday. We'll see. We'll have to watch this. This is still 5 days out. This will probably change, but nothing too significant. I don't see anything too significant out of this, as this remains pretty linear and pretty strung out system. So maybe a little bit of some severe activity down really in the deep south here with this little system. And as I slide it through, we get some high pressure to build in the east. And the American model wants another low pressure to form out of kind of Texas here, as that trough we saw eventually kind of shifts into Texas and then moves off to the east, really here at the end. We'll see whether or not that is actually true, because this is kind of going out pretty far in time. And I mean, the American model wants a nice snowstorm for the northeast here, so we'll see if that's real. But this is too far out to really make any predictions at that point. And the stormy weather out west kind of continues, although might take a little break from where it is now throughout the next, from about 5 to 6 days, we might get a little bit of relaxation out there. And finally, I do want to do a little comparison. This is the 12Z European model from today. And this kind of indicates, that same system moving through the east initially. That's currently in Arkansas and Missouri. That will potentially bring some showers throughout the region over here in the east, the northeast, and kind of the southeast coastal regions. We get that really strong system to move through into Canada here as that trough kind of ejects way off to the north. Moisture is going to be scarce enough so that severe weather should remain limited from that, and will simply be confined to the deep south where the moisture and instability is highest. And that should keep the weather pretty quiet. Now, the European on a different scale than the American model, wants this system to remain a pretty strong rainmaker here in the northeast. We'll see again whether that's going to happen. Right now, I wouldn't make any calls whether or not anything like this is going to happen. But we'll have to monitor it. But for now, I could confidently say there could be some severe weather down in the deep south, and we'll have to watch that. But do not think it will be anything too serious. Now, the last thing I want to end on here is kind of the longer range outlook, as far as this is the coming from the Climate Prediction Center. And by the way, didn't mean to mention earlier, for your location, you need to, the best information is going to come from the National Weather Service. So please pay attention to what they say for your location, as that is going to give you the best idea of, precautions to take and what kind of weather is coming your way. And I'm simply just a forecaster giving my opinion. But using the Climate Prediction Center here, we do have above average temperatures continuing throughout the east, below average in the west, and below average also in Alaska. And as long as this below average in Alaska remains, this pattern down here will be pretty much locked. And as that continues throughout the next 8 to 14 day outlook, continuous warmth in the east and the north as well. And then even weeks 3 to 4, we continue to stay that way. And even for the whole month of March, warm in the east, cold in the west and southwest, and cold in Alaska. So with that said, the rest of all of these periods as well should remain pretty wet across the entire country. So drought problems should be satisfied in most areas, and that should be good news for the whole of the country. But with that said, thank you so much for watching. I hope you really enjoyed. If you did, please be sure to leave a like down below. Comment if I did a good job and what I can improve on. I'd love to hear. And stay tuned for any streams we've got going on. If we do get some severe weather going on, we will try to get out there and chase it and stream it for you guys, so that we can help protect and save lives down wherever tornadoes may hit. But with that said, thank you so much for watching. I will talk to you in the next video.